When you close your eyes and envision your garden, perhaps you see only rows of verdant greens or a few tomato vines leaning against a rustic fence. But today, let us set aside a small haven for something far more tranquil. A gentle expanse of water, just a few paces wide. Beneath that glassy surface, schools of fish drift unhurriedly, while above, a vibrant carpet of duckweed floats, and a few ducks softly preen their feathers. At a glance, it may seem like a mere ornamental touch to the landscape. Yet hidden beneath that serene surface lies a magnificent cycle of nature. A miniature ecosystem capable of providing an endless source of protein for your family, year after year, without the grueling labor of tilling, without drawing a spark of electricity, and without the need for a single bag of synthetic fertilizer. This miracle is no invention of modern agriculture. Centuries ago, traditional farmers living a life of true self-sufficiency quietly distilled the sacred tenets of natural aquaculture. In their weathered, ancient ledgers, they did not sketch out colossal industrialized farms. They understood that a modest body of water, if established in harmony with the laws of nature, could yield a richer abundance of protein than grazing livestock on that very same footprint of land. Sunlight, microorganisms, aquatic life, and the gentle passage of time. These are the only four pieces of the puzzle. When woven together, the pond becomes a self-sustaining universe, nourishing families from one generation to the next. But why has such quiet wisdom slipped from the consciousness of the modern world? To find the answer, we must wade back through time to the dawn of agrarian life, along the grassy banks of untamed valleys. In those days, agriculture was not born of domination, but of quiet observation. As the seasonal floodwaters receded, the stewards of the land noticed that the pools left behind were never devoid of life. The fish stranded within did not perish. They fiercely survived, matured, and multiplied. During the lean months of the harvest gap, the villagers needed only to walk to these natural basins to bring life-sustaining nourishment back to their hearths. From that silent reverence, the first earthen ponds were born. The ancients dug a little deeper, lined the earth with natural clay to cradle the water, and simply stepped back, allowing nature the freedom to do her work. Over time, tending a garden pond ceased to be a romantic notion. It became an anchor of survival. Through centuries of cultivation, these rustic farmers realized a profound philosophy to sustain their kin. Every aquatic creature must possess its own realm. Herbivorous fish glide near the sunlit surface. Algae grazers patrol the middle depths, while bottom feeders diligently forage and cleanse the dark floor. No competition, no waste. Every inch of the pond is perfectly utilized. The art of polyculture, a masterpiece of ecological harmony, was born from this very stillness and enduring patience. In the centuries past, when the rhythms of natural farming prevailed, traditional homesteads were always embraced by shimmering ponds. No one carried out buckets of industrial feed to pour into these waters, and no roaring machines churned the surface day and night to force aeration. Sunlight, wild grasses, and microbes organically wove a tapestry of nourishment, fattening the schools of fish below. The pond fed itself. Yet, as the gears of industrial civilization turned, mankind brought forth a mindset of forced confinement, locking cattle and swine into rigid pens, breaking their backs to haul feed to them every single day. Husbandry devolved into a battle of sweat, debt, and exhaustion. Gradually, the concept of a self-feeding pond was mocked by industrial agriculture as hopelessly naive. Ponds were reduced to luxurious garden ornaments, koi pools meant only for the eyes, incapable of sustaining a single human life. It was not until the 1960s, as the shadow of resource depletion began to haunt humanity, that scientists in Alabama were startled into reopening the ancient texts of traditional agriculture. They did not build colossal machines. They dug tiny, experimental earthen ponds, scarcely 900 square feet, about the size of an ordinary backyard corner. They released docile indigenous species like the bluegill and the channel catfish. These fish required no human servants. They hunted for their own prey, foraging for algae and plankton drifting in the water. The resulting harvest poured cold water over the pride of industrial farming. That minuscule pond yielded nearly 160 fish a year. To secure an equivalent yield of meat from a steer, you would need vast, sprawling pastures, exhausting labor to build barns, veterinary chemicals, and tons of processed grain. Meanwhile, that quiet pond stood as a self-propelling cycle of protein, demanding not a single drop of sweat. So, what is the hidden magic beneath this placid surface? This cycle is woven from 4 deeply interconnected elements. First, observe the ducks paddling with unhurried grace. They offer far more than eggs. As their webbed feet gently paddle, they stir the silt at the bottom, releasing dormant minerals. More importantly, their droppings provide an invaluable primal source of nitrogen. This nitrogen dissolves into the water, awakening the algae. As the algae bloom, life begins to flourish. The ducks are the very spark that ignites this entire biological engine. The next presence is nature's own living filter, aquatic flora. Cattails, water lilies, and duckweed provide more than poetic beauty. Their roots stretch deep into the water, silently drawing up excess nutrients, keeping the water crystal clear and pure, creating a safe sanctuary for the fish. Duckweed, possessing the power to double its biomass in a mere 48 hours, becomes the ultimate delicacy for the ducks, flawlessly closing the loop. And the final link, invisible yet possessing the most profound power, the beneficial bacterial colonies. They drift in the water column and cling to the stones, executing the sacred nitrogen cycle, transmuting excess waste into benign nutrients to feed the aquatic flora. When these 4 elements intertwine, the pond is no longer a mere hole filled with water. It has transformed into a living, breathing, self-sufficient entity. The most miraculous aspect of this ancient ecosystem is its absolute humility. You do not need sprawling acres of farmland to begin. A space merely 10 by 15 feet, dug waist deep, is more than enough to cradle a miniature universe. With a modest investment for a durable pond liner, a handful of fingerlings, a few water lily crowns, and a couple of ducklings, you have laid the foundation stones for your very own fortress of freedom. Of course, nature beats to her own quiet rhythm. You cannot force a tree to mature overnight, nor can you demand a pond to function flawlessly on its very first day. In the first 6 months, the water may turn murky, aquatic plants are blindly searching for a foothold, and microbes are establishing their territories. This is the quiet patience a steward of the land must embrace, much like the enduring way of the Amish. But as the first year draws to a close, the inaugural generation of fish will be large enough to grace your table. By the second year, you will see schools of tiny fry darting through the shallows. The system has begun to reproduce and regenerate itself. Come the third year, you are no longer an exhausted herdsman. You are simply an observer, a grateful recipient of the boundless generosity born from the living ecosystem right in your own backyard. If you reside in a land of harsh, biting winter frosts, lay your worries to rest. Frozen ponds still cradle life beneath the ice. You need only maintain a small opening to allow Mother Earth and the atmosphere to exchange their breath. The catfish and the bluegill will slow their hearts, sinking into a peaceful winter slumber to await the warming sun of spring. Even so, The ultimate value of this humble pond does not lie in a few pounds of fillets or a basket of duck eggs. Its supreme value is freedom. When inflation soars, when supermarket shelves sit empty and exorbitantly priced, your family still holds a quiet, untouched backyard sanctuary. You need only step out into the garden, cast a line, harvest a handful of crisp greens, and accept a meal graciously bestowed by nature herself. Those who walked the earth centuries before us left behind an enduring truth. Nature never yearns to be controlled by the hands of man. She only yearns to be understood and to be granted the space to breathe. A small expanse of water, a patch of golden sunlight, boundless patience, and profound reverence. Sometimes the greatest powers to protect your family arise from the most ordinary things that have quietly endured for millennia. If the rustic tale of this tranquil pond has brought you a moment of peaceful stillness and a new perspective on the abundance sprouting all around us, please gently press the like button and subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment to share the stories of your own small ponds or garden corners. We will continue to walk this path together, rediscovering forgotten, primal ecological philosophies, cultivating a future where humanity and nature breathe in perfect, harmonious rhythm. I will see you again in our next journey of healing.